All right, guys, so this is session one, and session one is really all about, I call it kind of housekeeping. It's really setting up what your business is going to look like and giving you an idea of what the basics are. So I will be sharing my screen. I would recommend, if you have not done some of the things that I'm talking about, literally, if you have the ability to still see Zoom on your laptop or iPad and then work on your phone, do that, because sometimes kind of hearing it and doing it at the same time is really helpful. We all learn different. And so I want to make sure that we're kind of hitting all of the different areas. And if you have a question, please feel free to unmute yourself and ask, or you can always put it in the chat. I'll do my best to double check that. So I have some scripts I'm going to be sending into the chat, and please know at the end, before I end Zoom, those messages will disappear. So you want to make sure that you get it copied over, or at least send it to yourself, or get with your upline. One of us will be able to send it to you on the side. So don't ever worry about that you'd be missing something like that. Okay. All right. So getting started, I'm going to go over briefly what we call Esuite. You may hear it called back office, Esuite. Honestly, there's a bunch of names for it. Think of it as behind the scenes of your actual website, okay? And I'm going to distinguish between the two, because I remember being new and I was like, okay, you're saying website, office, back office. I don't really know, okay? So I'm going to share my screen and I'm going to walk you through what this looks like so that you, when you get to doing it on your own, you have an idea, okay? So let me do that. Hold on a second. There we go. All right, so here is the back office. Now, again, I will copy, let's see if I can do that. I will copy and paste this in here. Sometimes it's good to have this link. I have this auto-saved on all my devices, and it brings me to this directly. So feel free to save that link. It's essentially what you see. Let me go back, hold on. It is esuite.myitworks.com, okay? And it will bring you to the login screen. And when you first enrolled, you got your ID number, or you enrolled with an email, and you created a password throughout enrollment, okay? And so you want to make sure you save that ID number. Even if you use your email to log in, you always want to be sure that you have that ID number accessible. That is the identification number that we use not only for getting paid, but it's really to help placement of distributors and new loyal customers or people that come into your organization. So you want to kind of commit that to memory eventually. So you can sign in with that ID number as your username or the email that you enrolled with, and then the password. So mine is auto set up here. So I'm going to log in and I'm going to walk you through just a couple of areas of the eSuite. This is something that, trust and believe, there's a lot of things to click on. You will never hurt anything back here. It's taking forever. So please feel free at some point outside of this Zoom that you take the time to just kind of poke around and see what is what. It's really cool to kind of see what all this back office or this eSuite can do for you. A lot of times when we're coming in here, we know exactly what we're doing. We're in and we're out, but there are still a lot of good resources. So first and foremost, when you first log in, when you are new, okay, my screen is not going to show that, but when you're brand new, you're going to have a pop-up that opens right up whenever you log in, and it's going to ask you specific questions on, do you want notifications sent to your email? Always enable that yes. You always want to be in the know. You're not going to get bombarded with emails. Trust me, typically on Mondays is when they send their overall update for the announcements from the prior week or the week that we're heading into, okay? So always enable that yes, that notifications are turned on. And then the next screen that's going to pop up is your tax information. And what this means is that as a distributor, we make actual money. And what that means is that obviously money is taxable. And at some point, if you make more than $600 in an annual year, the following year, they will send you a 1099, okay? You can actually locate that in here in your back office, and they actually do mail a copy to you as well. So you're going to just fill out that tax information, and no, it's not printing anything and sending anything. It is literally clicking a couple times, typing in your name, and hitting submit. But this step is very important, and I want to emphasize this because it happens quite often. When you're verifying your name, please make sure it is your legal name. And the reason why this is important is because if it's not your legal name, then you will get an alert at some point, 30, 60, 90 days into the business. They'll put you on commission hold because they can't report your earnings to a governing body, right? They have to be able to report your earnings to the IRS, and it has to be your legal name. So just make sure, married, not married, maybe you didn't change your name yet, maybe you don't go by your full name, maybe it's longer than what you normally go by. I get that, but that, for specific reasons of just taxes, make sure it's your full legal name, okay? And you click, you type your name in and you submit it. And then you can refresh the page and you will see what I am seeing now. And this will look the same every single time you log in, okay? Your name will be at the top left. That's how you know you're in your back office or your eSuite. And you will see a whole bunch of icons at the top, as I see here: commissions, reports, document library, auto shipment, settings, orders, all of this. I'm going to specifically start kind of out of order, but just follow me. I'm going to start from the far right, and it's something called support. This is really important to know for those people that want to communicate with customer service. Yes, we do have a customer service phone number. Yes, they are open 7 days a week. However, with 2020 being what it is, they have definitely limited the staff that they have present there, as well as the hours are a little bit different, but more so than the hours being different, they're not always taking a plethora of calls. So sometimes you may call and you may be in a waiting queue for a very long time. You may not even be able to be in the queue to wait online or on the phone either. So always know that if you want to communicate with customer service, you actually can come to support and you can submit what we call a support ticket. Anytime that you're submitting a ticket on behalf of your customers, maybe they lost an order, maybe a packet was split open with packaging, whatever random things happen, you can submit a support ticket. Now, I will say, if you submit a support ticket on behalf of your clients through your back office, they may have you resubmit it through the customer's back office. And that is really just more for confidentiality, and that they want to make sure that it is actually coming from the client and not directly from the distributor. Okay. And so, yes, you can always communicate via customer service. And when they respond to you, it will go in the queue called closed tickets, and you'll be able to click it, open it up, and read their response to you. You can add new replies so that you can literally have a communication back and forth. And they do a pretty good job with this. I honestly would say within 24 hours, I usually have something resolved for the most part. There are those random times when things may go longer than that. And if that ever happens, or you ever need something immediate, just get with your upline and we can help direct you maybe in a different way. Okay. So that is support. Know that you can come for a support need for yourself, or at least to get an idea on behalf of your clients. They may still direct you to do something else though. All right. So that is support. I'm going to jump over a few and I am going to go to auto shipments. Okay. Now, before this is over, or right when this is over, at least some point today, tomorrow at the latest, you guys, this is why I want to kind of spend just a couple of minutes on auto shipments. Now, when you first joined, you may have noticed that it created an enrollment auto shipment. Okay. That is standard across the board. It gets set up for actually every new distributor that joins the business. And the reason why that's important, first off, is that we want to make income. And in order to make income, we have to be commission qualified. There are a couple of ways to be commission qualified, but the easiest way, and the way that makes the most sense, and I'll explain why in a minute, is for us to be able to order product for ourselves. And that actually can be used to commission qualify us for that month of volume, so that we get paid on everything that is done within that calendar month that we're in. Okay. So you see here on my screen, I do have my own personal auto ship set up. I do run this every single month. I do personally take the products, obviously, in this business. And I know new starting out, it's not always as easy, because some of you are just spending your last just to get into this business, and I understand that. But also know we are very creative with what we can recommend to you to get the money to be able to then reinvest in yourself. And that's from sample selling, selling products on hand. You get free samples when you join, and I'll go over that in a second. So don't always count out that you have to spend your own money to be able to reinvest, especially in the beginning. Okay. But understand too that we do want to be a product of the product, and many of us do use these products ourselves. May not be a ton of them, but we have definitely tried a whole lot over the course of how long we've been in the business, and we have figured out what works best for our body. And so between all of us here and all of us sidelines, if you ever have questions on, what we personally use, feel free to always ask, because we can always give you that that information on the side. Okay. So 80 BV, okay, equivalent to about $80. As you can see, mine's a little bit more. We had a special going on a month and a half ago where us distributors could get a really good discount if we chose from a certain group of items. So I actually had 6 items in my cart for $150. So as you can imagine, that's a really good deal considering the fact that it used to be only 2 to 3 items. Okay. But nonetheless, it is 80 BV. BV stands for bonus volume, and it is the value of a product. And 80 BV is that threshold, that or above, that commission qualifies us. So what they say is if you yourself run a personal order every single month that is 80 BV or higher, that actually qualifies you to get paid out on all of the activity that your organization does within that month. That's really what it's saying, okay? Now, the other way to get commission qualified is to simply go towards the next thing I'm going to talk about is enrolling 6 customers. Okay. So to set up your auto ship, what you may find is when you come here, one is already set up that happens on enrollment. Don't freak out. You can always come to view, edit, or cancel. I recommend edit. Look at the items that are there. If you have specific questions, feel free to reach out to your upline or stay tuned. In session number 3, we actually do a deep dive into some of the products. Okay. And you can edit this and you can add items, you can take items off, you can get an idea of what items are, and then you want to just make sure you save it. If you don't save it, it was never done. Okay. So that's auto shipments. If you ever just want to place a one-time order, which this happens a lot, we have a lot of promotions, especially during this holiday season going on right now. And so please feel free to always know that it doesn't always have to be an auto shipment if we want to order. We actually can place one-time orders, and that is right here under that shopping cart that says orders. So if you come here, it opens up all of the categories and you can expand by clicking the little arrows, and you can shop by category, shop by solution, shop by bestsellers, and you can click on each item and you can actually add it to cart and check out. Okay. So that is how we are able to place one-time orders as well. So if you ever need to do that, please know that you can do that as well. Okay. So that's auto shipments and orders. I'm going to briefly tell you a couple things in settings because I think it's good to know. When we first enroll, you may not know your specific website name, and that is okay. I'm not even sure if the new enrollment email has your actual website in it. It should. If it doesn't, if you overlooked it, that's okay. You can actually come to settings and you can see that. Okay. So hold on a second. Okay. You can come to settings and you can see that. So if you look, I have some options on the left-hand side. One is called website. If I were to click on website, it will actually open up what my website alias name is. And as you can see, mine is Great Transformations. Please know that your website name is always able to be changed as long as it is available. Now, here's a little disclaimer. Do not give this website out to 10 people, 100 people, and then go and change it. If you change it, they will not have access to the correct website. So be sure that you get your website name to exactly what you want it to before you start giving it out to a lot of people, okay? Also know you can always change the name that appears on your website, especially for those of us that may not have, we may not go by our legal name, but our legal name is what's on the website. You may not want that, and that's okay. You can actually change it here. So a lot of spouses or significant others do the business together, like my husband and I. And so I have Tavia and Brandon. I don't even have our last name. I just have Tavia and Brandon. And that's just something that we chose to do because we run one website versus each of us having 2. And so that's an option as well, but also go down a little further and you can add your own picture. Okay. So this is something where take time to do this because when people go to your website, you want to make sure they're checking out on the correct website. So yes, they have your website name, but sometimes they can click out of it. They can go random places and they end up at the main It Works website. You want to be sure that they're accessing your specific replicated website. And the best way that I tell people is, do you see my picture or my name at the top left? And when I say that, they can quickly look at it on the phone or on their iPad and say, yep, okay, I see you. And then I know that they're in the correct place to check out, okay? You can also add a little blurb about who you are, why you're doing the business. It doesn't have to be incredibly long. 1 or 2 sentences to talk a little bit about who you are is helpful too, especially if you are really pushing social media and you may have people coming to your link that you don't know personally. Sometimes it's really nice to have. If you are uploading your picture, please know it may take a few tries for whatever reason, depending on the size of your picture, the pixels. Sometimes it can upload really strange. So when you upload a picture in here, go to your website and refresh it and make sure it's positioned correctly. It may take you a couple times of offloading and reloading it to get it right. But if you need help with that specifically, you can reach out to like one of your uplines and we can kind of walk you through that. Okay. So that's a little bit about settings. So hopefully that makes sense. And then last but not least, you guys, I want to talk about document library. And this is just think of document library as a massive resource. This is where our compensation plan is housed. This is where all of the promotions and the FAQs are housed. This is where sheets for ranking and steps to success and all about what we do as distributors. Loyal customer program. Obviously, you see all the options to the left-hand side, from training, business and building, to product info, policies and procedures are all located here. So for my green personalities, and you may not know what that is yet, but for some people that need more information or more in-depth explanations of things, this is a really great resource to come to. And when you find what you're looking for, you actually can download that document to your computer and it will upload it as a PDF. You can actually do this on your phone. And we now have the capability of sending this to people as well. So that's an option too. So just so you know that, this is really here for really just a resource for us. So if you want to dig a little bit deeper, feel free to take a look at this. You can always search and you can find things a little bit quicker that way. Please know that this document library is full of all different languages too. So it's not just English, not just Spanish. There's French in here. There's a lot of different languages that we upload in here. And so it is a pretty big library of information, okay? And then if you guys are enrolling, I want to show you one specific report at first to go off of, okay? Because it can get a little confusing. So let's say you're new, okay? And you completed, we have something called steps to success, and I'm gonna show you what that looks like in a second. But there is a specific report, and I want you to write this down, and I'll access it again in just a second. But there's a report that I like to use when we're new. Sometimes when you're new and you sign a customer, you're like, okay, I signed a customer, but I can't see them. Where do I go to find them? That's always the big question when you're first new. And so I wanna show you and point out where you can quickly look when someone signs, and where you can see them and make sure that, okay, peace of mind, they're there. They just haven't loaded to see them in the rest of the system yet. So if you click on reports, it's going to bring you to this screen. This is just a few of the reports. If you see down in the bottom right, it says additional reports, you're going to click that. And it's going to bring up a lot. Don't get overwhelmed. There is one specific report that you need to remember, at least for the early part of your business, and that's personally enrolled team. It's directly under recruitment. And when you click that, you can see everyone new that has enrolled in your organization in the past 24 hours. So 24 or 72. And so make sure that you come here if you know someone is enrolled or supposed to enroll and you didn't get the Connect app alert on your phone. Always come here and double check. And if you don't see that person here, if you refresh a couple times or within the first few minutes of them enrolling, get with your upline immediately, because we only have a small amount of time to get someone moved should they have enrolled on the wrong website. Typically, we have about 72 hours to make that transition. Yes, we can make it happen, but we want to make sure we're submitting that support ticket or calling customer service fast so that they can actually help us with that, okay? So that is that. So last but not least, we're going to go into the second part, you guys, and I'm quickly going to tell you about your first 6 customers and what that does for you. So I'm going to pull up a document, and I'm literally just going to search so you guys can see it. I'm going to pull up steps to success. And what this is think of it as It Works has created 3 simple steps that if we as new distributors, or even past new seasoned distributors, if we follow these 3 steps, okay, and we repeat them as many times as we can from month to month, we will, no matter what, progress in the business and continue to build our residual income. And so I'm going to show you what that looks like. And the first step you guys have already done. So you joined the business, you ordered your business builder kit, and you are commission qualified in the first month that you enroll. And that is just because you purchased the kit, it automatically commission qualifies you. So that 80 BV auto ship we talked about, You don't necessarily have to run that in your first month that you are in the business. For example, if you joined in November, you are commission qualified for November. You are not necessarily commission qualified in December until that 80 BV auto ship runs, or you get your 6 customers. And I'm going to talk about that. Okay. So just know that. Now, the second part is getting 6 customers. And this looks a little confusing, but I want to explain this. Ready? So what the second step of what we do, it's really not only getting yourself out there and posting, and your upline is going to help you with that, but it's going after that shopping spree. When you join, and if you're still within your first 30 days of this business, you have the opportunity to get a $150 shopping spree, literally $150 that you can use and cash in on products or apparel. And what you do is they would actually go to your website and they're going to enroll and purchase product as a customer. When you achieve 2 customers, right? When 2 customers order, it's going to unlock a product reward. Think of the product rewards as a special gift to us distributors for working our business. And what that means is we get the option of a few different items, and we get the option of cashing in our product rewards, and we can get products from 60 to 80% off with free shipping. And there's a certain list of items we can choose from, but every 2 customers that you enroll from now for the life of your business, it will unlock a product reward, which is really cool because especially depending on the items you choose, you can resell those as samples. You can use those. You can sell them for retail price and make cash on hand. There's a lot of things we can do with these product rewards, okay? And so as you can see, every 2 customers unlocked one. So if you get your 6 customers in your first month, not only is it going to unlock a shopping spree, it's going to give you 3 product rewards that you can cash in. Now, please know that those product rewards do expire, and you can actually find that in your back office, and it will tell you when the expiration is for them. Typically, it's about 60 days from the day that you achieved it, okay? So that is step number 2, all right? Step number 3 we'll get into in previous sessions, so don't worry, I'm just gonna skate over this. But step 2 is all about going Ruby, okay? And Ruby is a specific rank in our company that pays out pretty decent. Typically, the average payout is about $500 a month, give or take, depending on your volume, and we'll talk about that. But what that means is that after you get your 6th customer, and please know that it doesn't have to be one after another, you can do these parallel. You can enroll distributors and customers at the same time, but your goal then is to turn around and help 3 other people get started in the business. And it's so simple because these steps to success are duplicatable. So you can turn around and you can help your new distributor learn what this is, get them on these Ignite sessions, and you can help them unlock their shopping spree, and they then will go for Ruby. So all we're doing is we're doing the same thing. We're enrolling and we're repeating the same steps. Now, after you first join and you've already gotten qualified, you've already ordered your kit, every month as distributors, we want to try to repeat steps 2 and 3 if we can. Is it a requirement? Absolutely not. Will you get penalized? Absolutely not. Do we have to order a certain amount of product or have a certain amount of BV to stay active in this business? No, we do not. So I know other companies are a little bit different, but ours is something I really, really love about that because we're not necessarily required to order product every single month to get paid. Nor are we required to order a certain product to stay active, which is really, really cool. All right. So that is the steps to success, and you can find this in the document library. All right. So I'm going to stop sharing for a second, and I'm going to flip gears really fast. The last thing I'm going to show you guys is your actual website, because I don't want you to get confused between your back office and your actual website. All right. So let me stop share here. And let me pull up my website. Now, if you remember, I talked about finding out what your website name was in settings, right? Settings and then website, if you don't know what it is, all right? So as you remember, I say, did you see my picture? Do you see my name at the top left? That's how you know you're on my site. This is what customers, new customers, potential customers, and potential distributors or business partners will see when you send your link to them, okay? Little disclaimer, shouldn't even say disclaimer, but little thing to note, when you're sending your actual website, so literally if I were to copy this, okay, I cannot send this through Messenger or on Facebook. And the reason is because for whatever reason, Facebook blocks it It is what it is. We have other things around that. And so get with your upline if you want to set up something that kind of covers over this link and you're still able to send it. A lot of what we do is we get cell phone numbers. We get people into our contact list so that we have a direct link to them and we can follow up easier. And then we text this clickable link to them. Okay. So this is my actual website. When customers come here, when distributors come here, they're going to see exactly this. And they're going to then be able to look at products. They're going to be able to find out about products. We'll get into that in another session, but I just wanted to make sure you knew the difference between your eSuite, your back office, and your actual website. When you have someone's information to enroll, because a lot of times we do the enrolling of our customers, remember this. We know our website best. And I know some of you are new and you may feel like, well, I don't. You will. And a lot of times we enroll our customers ourselves because we want them to have a really good experience. We don't want them to get confused. We don't want to have to go backtrack and fix things. It happens. And yes, it can be fixed, but a lot of times we are business owners and we have that posture, that poise to be able to enroll someone and help get their order processed faster. And so a lot of us will actually do the enrolling ourselves. But nonetheless, if you send it, this is what they will see. All right. So I wanted to point that out for you guys. And I will send a YouTube link for, hold on a second here. I'm going to join in on the meeting and I'm going to send a link in the chat here. Okay, so I'm going to send a link and then we are going to get to messaging people and I'm going to explain that, don't worry, in a second here. Okay, so this video, just copy this over. This is the video that will access, you will be able to watch this video and it's kind of like a starter video in case you need to go back and rewatch a couple of things, but know that that is there. The other thing I want to talk about really briefly is when you're new, set up your account, get all this sort of housekeeping out of the way, and then we're going to get down to messaging customers. That is a vital part of what we do. And I think that, yes, it can be intimidating at first, especially if you're new to this and you're like, I hardly post on social media and you want me to message people. We get that. We understand. But know too that we're here to support you and that the only way for people to know what you do is to actually engage with them and tell them. Until you have built up your social media to the point where people already know the brand that you've created, you're going to have to take that extra step and tell them what you're doing. Tell them how excited you are. Tell them that you started something new. And here's the thing that I want to make extremely clear. And I wish someone would have probably told me this when I first started, is that you're going to have a list of people. We tell a lot of our distributors, make a chicken soup list, make a list of 10, 20, however many people that you can. Make a list of people when you first start that you think would support you in this business, in this new venture. Who do you think would want to try a product from you? Who do you think would want to join business with you? Who would support you? No matter what you were doing, they would buy ice from you. Who is that person? Now you make the list and let's say you send the message I'm going to give you in a second to these people and you get no, right? All of a sudden what happens? You get extremely deflated. You're like, how are all these people not supporting me? I thought they would support me through anything. Here's the thing. It's not you they're saying no to, it's more them saying no to themselves. Sometimes the priorities that people hold are different than what you hold. And you're the one that started this business. And always remember, and I know this sounds a little harsh, but no one is necessarily entitled to help you. However, you aren't entitled to necessarily take personally if they do or do not order from you. So it goes both ways. They may not support you, but you at the same time can expect them to support you. And as long as you know and have the mindset that if they do, great. If they don't, I'm going to keep going. That's all you need to have in this business. And I think that even 5 years for me being in this business, it's something that I still have to say to myself, like not everyone is ready for a change. Not everyone is ready to get healthy. Not everyone is ready to make the change. They say they want more money. They're not willing to do the work. They say they want to get healthy, but they're not willing to do the work. It happens, right? Think about it from your own perspective. How long did it take you to join? How long did it take you to look at someone, watch someone, go back and forth messaging with someone, say it's a scam, say it's a pyramid scheme, say you're skeptical, all the things, right? How long did it take for you to soften up to the idea that maybe this is exactly what I need? So don't be so quick to get upset, angry, mad, frustrated when people say no to you for the first time. You have to understand this is new from you hearing about an opportunity. So for them, maybe they just have to kind of soften up to it too. Maybe they have to see that you're consistent with talking about it, posting about it, which we're going to get into. And maybe they need to build that trust with you that, okay, maybe she really is serious about what she's doing. Maybe he really does want to change his life. Okay, maybe I will clue in a little bit more about what they're doing. Okay. So what I want you guys to do, and we have a little bit of time, but what I want you to do is if you have not made a list or a chicken soup list, I don't care if it's 2 people. Okay. It doesn't matter. At this point, anything is better than nothing. And I think we all have people that we could message when we first start this business. And I used to get a lot, well, I don't think anyone would. That's really not your decision to make. Your decision is that you need to write down people that if you were getting married, if you had a big something happening in your life that was so awesome and you were going to tell people, who would you tell? Those are the people that you would want to write down on this list. And guys, here's the thing. Sometimes it may not be family, and that's okay. You can probably ask a handful of us and ask us, does family support you? And you would be surprised to know that there's many of us that have family members that don't support us. Doesn't mean they don't love us. It just means they're not there yet, and that's okay. All right. I'm 5 years in, and I literally only have my mom and my husband's father are customers, and that is it, you guys. No one else in my family has ever supported me, but they sure don't knock me either because I've created a brand. No matter what, I am going to do this for my family. I'm not doing it for somebody else. Okay. And you just have to have that vision and that why that's glaringly obvious in the front of your head when you go and do this. Okay. And yeah, you're going to falter. It's going to be hard. You're going to message your upline someday saying, I don't know if this is for me. We expect that. All right. And we expect that because that means you're actually working. You're actually doing something, because had you not had those feelings or those mixed emotions of, I don't know if this is for me, then we would think, okay, well, she's probably not doing much of anything right now, because we know that is the typical response a lot of us have when we first start this business. Okay. So what questions does anyone have? Or I know I've got some awesome leaders on here. Is there anything that you guys want to add as far as like this topic goes? Because I know there's a lot of you on here. I'm going to send the messages, you guys. Okay. So I sent the first message. There's 2. But I want to preface this. So take the time if you want to copy this over. Some of you may have this. Please know, again, another disclaimer. A lot of us are awesome at scripts, but here's the thing. Use scripts in the beginning of your business. Absolutely. It gives you a really good feel and a foundation of what to say in general. As you advance in the business, you're going to start creating your own way, your own verbiage, your own flair, your own spice of how you're saying something. And as long as you're hitting some of the key points that you'll hear or see in a lot of the scripts we send, please don't ever hesitate to change something up to match who you are as a person. What we don't want to do is you join this business and we completely transform your identity. We want to keep that intact because that is you, right? But at the same time, we also want to give you the foundation of knowledge to know what to say, how to say it, and maybe some different ways that has worked for us in the past, and take that and then kind of change it up and use it for you. So this is just a script. It is just a baseline. Please know that you can always edit this, but save this to your notes or save this to somewhere where you can access it fast. And what this script is, you guys, is that list of people that you made or are going to make. This is the message you're going to send them. Please add their personal or at least their first name into the top part. That's where that underline is. The reason is because if these people on your list are people you know, their family, their friends, more than likely they're people that you have communicated or interacted with, don't ever feel like you have to be super salesy with them. I think that's actually one of the worst things to do. This, again, and that's why I say again, this script is just a script. Please know that if you've got to change it up and you wouldn't say this in the way that it's written, change it. but just still get the same point across. Let them know what it is you're doing and get it personal. Add their first name, add their nickname. If you call them by a nickname, get personal with them. Let them know what you're doing and be proud of what you're doing. And then send this message. And when they respond to you, okay, that's when you would go in with the second message. If they respond and say, no, not at this time, okay, cool. Thanks so much. Maybe in the future you can support me. Awesome, right? But if they say, yes, I would love to, or yes, I need to, okay, then here's the second message. And again, please save this, please edit it. They're very brief, they're very simple, and they're very broad. And the reason why they're broad, they're kind of start broad and then we kind of funnel it down to where it's very specific. And then after the second message is sent, this is when the screenshotting begins and you send it to your upline. This is when you have the deeper conversations of, okay, she said detox, now what? That's when you screenshot it. That's when you send it to your upline. I will speak on all of upline's behalf by saying you will never annoy us if you're screenshotting us left and right, because that actually lets us know you're working and we're here to help you. You don't know what you don't know right now. And so please never feel or never go into a conversation alone, because I think it can be more discouraging than helpful. If you don't know what to say or how to say it, don't feel like you have to have that conversation alone just because you're like, oh my gosh, I've messaged her 30,000 times today. She's going to kill me if I message her again. No, please send the message. And screenshots are better for us because for us, I know for me, when I see the previous interaction, I can see the flow a little bit of the conversation and I can better give you what to say. When you're just telling me what they're saying, it's a little more difficult for me to get a feel for the flow and I don't feel it's as powerful. So that's why screenshotting is simple. Screenshot, send it. We'll send you back a response. You send it, screenshot their response, and we'll keep going back and forth until we get that customer enrolled for you. Then it may start to where you're having multiple conversations, you guys, and this may happen 20, 50 times, however many people you're messaging. But eventually it's going to lessen and it's going to lessen and it's going to lessen because why? Just like riding a bike, you got to do it over and over and over again until you master it. No different than this. This is literally learning a brand new job. Give yourself some grace, give yourself some time, understand that it's not going to come overnight, but that's what we're here for. If you ever feel overwhelmed, take a breath, stop, and know that all the things that we ever go over are usually recorded or put somewhere in one of our pages. It's not something you ever have to commit to memory, which is really nice. And so it's always something that you can access, okay? So with that, I don't know if anyone has, I know some of you guys are new, but some of you are not, have your list. Is Shannon still on here? She is. Shannon, so for you, and make sure you copy those over. And then when you're done and you're screenshotting them, you send them over to Jessica and you have her walk you through those conversations. For those that are new or even not new, what questions do you guys have? Anyone have new questions or even testimonies of when you first started that you guys want to share? Especially, I think we have a few new people on actually, now that I'm looking. Anyone want to share? Don't be shy. No one? No one wants to share? Oh, come on. Do I have to call people? Who wants to share? Tracy. Go ahead, Tracy. The queen of messaging. So when you first started, Tracy, let me ask you a question. When you first started, Tracy, and you had your list and you were like, okay, I'm going to message these people. Walk us through that. Did you have discouraging moments? Were you like, oh, why are these people saying no? Did you have that?
Of course. I mean, they also, some of them didn't even open it up, so you're going to have those people like that. They're going to like ghost you. But, just keep on going, keep on messaging, check back with them. I mean, you can even start off, with just simple stuff, happy birthday, I hope you're having a good day. You don't always have to start off with boom, hey, you want to buy this product? Kind of interact with them a little bit first, get them to see you, get them to message you back and forth, and then go ahead and ask them.
Yeah,
say, hey,
no, absolutely.
by the way, I've started this, or I got a favor to ask for you, something like that. So, your first message don't absolutely have to be, hey, you want to buy a product.
Yeah,
you want to help me out or whatever, just go ahead and carry on the conversation just like they're your best friend,
exactly.
so, like I said, some of the best friends might not come on board right away.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think when you're first starting this, know too that like you hit up your warm market first when you first start a business because that's the most it's the easiest to access, right? It's your warm market, people you know. And then a lot of people think multi-level marketing doesn't work because their warm market checks out and they're like, "Well, okay, there's that," right? When really the warm market is a small fraction compared to really how we operate this business. It's typically housed in the cold market that we haven't even accessed yet. And the cold market becomes warm when we're posting, when we're going live, when we're doing our hands free, when they see our brand, when they see us every single day, right? That's how that cold market, people you don't know, become your warm market. And so a lot of people think, well, okay, my warm market all said no. I messaged 3 people and I don't think I can do this business because they all said no. Right. And here's the thing. If I would have quit after that happened, because it did happen, I wouldn't be here 5 years later. Right. But I had to figure out, okay, well, let's think. This is business. This is new. Not everyone is going to say yes at the first time you ask them. So I had to be diligent enough to know, okay, well, these people said no, so now who's next? What is next? How do I elevate beyond here? How do I continue going? How do I get new potentials? What does that look like? And so that's where the expansion happens, with posting and really just pushing your brand out there. And you may not even know what your brand is yet, so know that that's okay. I honestly don't think that I really niched down really hard on my brand until almost 2.5 years into my business, which sounds crazy. But again, I didn't necessarily had anyone leading me. I don't have an upline in this business. So it was a really self-teaching sort of thing, which I'm not complaining about because I think all of us can self-teach to a certain extent, but it is helpful having a community of people that can help you. But okay, Tashima said, I was so afraid to go live and talk to people. I don't know why. Oh no, poor thing. Um, yeah, I was afraid to go live too. Live wasn't even available when I joined 5 years ago. And then when it came up, I was like, it took me literally sometimes 5 minutes to just like, no, I don't want to hit it. No, oh my gosh. Because there's this fear of what are people going to say? What are people going to say when they look at me? Like, do I look good? Do I not look good? Am I going to stutter? I used to say, all the time. And I used to count, I counted it once my first live. I don't even want to tell you how many I counted the first live. It was atrocious. But I think, again, just like riding a bike, the only way to get better is to do something. And in this business or any business you start, whether you started with It Works or another side business or whatever else, I think that you've got to learn how to start getting comfortable with being uncomfortable because growth is hard. And no matter where you are in life, growth is a necessity if you ever want to elevate to the next level. So whether you're in this business or not, growth is essential, and it's going to be uncomfortable. It's going to be ugly, and it's going to be messy. But there's always a message from it, right? So there's a message from your mess, and you just got to figure out what that looks like, right? And that's where we come in. That's where we help you. That's where we can help cast vision, and then you will sort of run with that as you advance. So 67. Was that you or me? Were you counting mine? Was that mine? I don't know, Chelsea. I may have said it 67
That's what I
times.
thought you said it was for you.
I might have. It was atrocious. And I don't even know why I went back and watched it. I refuse to go back and watch my live still to this day. Because I'm like, oh, my voice, I can't. So yeah, please know that we are our own worst critics too. But again, once you do it, it's kind of this addiction where you kind of look forward to it. And you just, I don't know, like you just kind of can let your like personality kind of show a little bit more when you let the emotions kind of die down and you're not as nervous. And it gets easier. I promise you it does get easier. So any other questions from our newbies? I do too.
I don't have a question, but I do have a tip for lives.
Yes.
Okay, so one of the things that I really struggled with was at the very, very beginning, I felt like I didn't know the products well enough to be able to go live about them, because if somebody said something and asked a question, I felt like I couldn't answer it. So I oftentimes like kind of veered away from that. But one of the other things is like you want to let people know who you are as a person, because they're not just they can buy a product from anywhere. They can go straight to the website and buy it. They're choosing to buy it from you for a specific reason. So make sure that they know who you are. So, sometimes I've done lives about me meal prepping. I've done lives where my stepkids come in and hang out with me, or they ask goofy questions and do something silly or whatever it is, because they're a massive part of my life and all that kind of stuff. So letting people know who you are, your lives are going to get you interaction one way or the other. They don't have to be only about the business.
Absolutely.
If you can work the business in somehow, do that. But if not, you still are letting people know who you are, and you're still attracting a following of people who are watching you and getting to know you. So that's important also.
Oh, it's so important. I love that. Yeah, which is so true, because you guys were an entity before you joined this business, just because what you do is not who you are. So I think that we had this misconception when we get into business that, oh, well, it works, it works, it works, it works. And you want to plaster it everywhere. OMG, please don't. And we'll get into that in another session, but because what you do is not who you are. You are still who you were before you clicked submit. You are simply now a business owner, and you are looking to mesh the two together, right? You work the business into your life, not your life into the business. And that's a balancing thing that I would say in the beginning that a lot of us don't struggle with, but we're trying to figure out, like, what does that look like? Do I do more of this, less of this, more of this? And I think that that is something that personally each one of us walk through, and it looks different. But know that, again, what you do isn't who you are. So don't feel that you have to be like, it works everywhere you go, decked out. Well, I know Tracy's always decked out in gear, which is good, but like horns on the car, like people know you're coming. Oh, she's the It Works girl. That's okay, but you don't have to necessarily do that. Okay. So know that. I sometimes look up the main fact about, yeah, that's a great, yes. And we'll talk about that. And that's a great tip too. You don't have to know everything about the products, and you don't have to have all of the products on hand to be able to show to people, because literally think about it. That's all you would do anyway. Do you know how often I used to get one item and it's an empty jar or an empty bag, and I would literally just keep that to show? So like even if I wasn't using the product months from then, I still had that jar sitting there. So if I ever needed to access it for a show or an event or on a live, I still had it. So just know that you don't need the products on hand to be able to still talk about the products. And that's the beauty of social media and apps, where you can crop in a picture of the photo, right? A lot of us do that of products. So just know that, we're really creative over here. And so if you ever have, questions on that, we can help you with that. And then we'll get into stories, I think on the next session. So I'm going to end this recording